Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Naruto Explained. If you get that reference, top 1% subscriber. But I said to say this, I need your attention. Because today, yes today, we must all come together as a community to ask a very important question. Can Chocho please put down the potato chips just for one moment? Just one. Because Chocho Akimichi is on the brink, potentially, of being allowed to do something massive. And I'm not talking about her calorie control mode where she gets bigger. I'm talking about something way bigger, pun intended. Kashin Koji using 10 directions to beef Chocho up. Boruto's already gotten it. Inojin has already gotten it. And now I believe we might be seeing Chocho get a turn later on in the future. And that the narrative threads have been pointing towards this for a minute now. So buckle up and maybe hide those snacks in case Chocho's around you, because we're about to break down why Chocho might be the next monster level powerhouse that gets trained by the mysterious bootleg Jiraiya that the franchise has introduced us to. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out the chapter review, which will be linked in the description box and the end credits, and share that with anyone who follows Boruto's manga. Also, don't forget to check out my new One Piece video for my Everything One Piece Explained channel, which will also be linked down below. So we have to start with why Chocho's next. When Kashin Koji chose Boruto, it made sense. When he secretly trained Inojin to help him learn that new jutsu he's got, that made a lot of sense. But now, with Sarada getting closer and closer towards her inevitable confrontation with Hidari, because once Momushi's taken down, it's just Hidari and Jura left. The Ten Tails offshoot, who embodies Sasuke's chakra memories, Hidari's gonna be next. The manga has created that perfect storm. Who is Sarada's closest friend? Chocho. Their bonds go all the way back to Naruto Gaiden. Back in 2015, Masashi Kishimoto drew their first mission together, their first real combat. They did that as a duo fighting against the Shin clone. And historically in Naruto, when one member of a duo levels up massively, the partner is definitely getting a power up either on or off screen to keep pace. So if Sarada is entering into that super overpowered Mangekyo Sharingan mode, and she's taking steps towards becoming Hokage worthy and gearing up for a fight that could rival Naruto versus Sasuke, obviously stretching here, but you get the point, then Chocho must grow as well. And that growth is exactly what Kashin Koji's 10 directions technique is designed for. And the most important thing is that Chocho already has that Akimichi clan greatness inside of her. So let's break down Chocho's raw toolkit that she has. She has the expansion jutsu, that selective body expansion. It is precise, it is controlled, it is surprisingly efficient. Something Kashin Koji could absolutely escalate though. If he's training Chocho with anything like this, he better have a fucking food buffet, because those jutsu require a lot of calories. And then you have the fact that Chocho has that butterfly mode, which has 100 times multiplier. This isn't big. This is basically an Akimichi clan member going Super Saiyan 2, which also has 100 times multiplier. Kishimoto's a big Dragon Ball fan. That's why that was thrown in there. If Chocho mastered her clan's ultimate technique earlier than expected, possibly with the help with 10 directions, then yes, she's gonna get a massive power. Remember this, butterfly mode. When you look at the theme surrounding it from what we saw in Naruto's manga, it wasn't just a physical transformation, it's also something that symbolically is tied to self-awareness and inner transformation. Those are all things that are aligned with Kashin Koji using 10 directions, which brings me to how 10 directions could boost up Chocho. So Kashin Koji's 10 directions training is basically, we're gonna break your limitations at the mental, physical, and fate-bound levels. Future you in this timeline, future you in that timeline did this. It took them this long. I'm gonna help you do it in 24 hours. That's how Chocho fits into this specifically. And honestly, it's something that I do really and truly enjoy, the use of 10 directions as a way to basically supercharge some characters to make them relevant in terms of being support characters. And this pays off exactly what Boruto was touching on when he told Kawaki, hey, Naruto, he lost Kurama, Sasuke lost the Rinnegan. We cannot afford to just rely on them. Kawaki's answer was, shinobi ways are too slow. This isn't going to do anything. These characters, while Koji is laying out, hey, this is how you perform the jutsu, they still have to take the shinobi approach to learn the mechanics and eventually master said jutsu. That is why I do like what we see here. It is proving Boruto's point to Kawaki that he's still a shinobi is correct. It is proving what Sasuke bet Naruto when you read the versus Momoshiki arc. Naruto was losing faith. Sasuke bet that the will and the heart of a shinobi stays the same no matter the era. This is proving Sasuke right. Koji with expansion jutsu might be able to teach her a more efficient way or help her learn a new jutsu that does things like chakra compression attacks with scale and mass. Basically, it would be a twist on karate meets kaiju. Which reminder, when you compress something that is with that much volume into a smaller point, you make it stronger. Look at Boruto's compression Rasengan. It is small in size, but it does a lot of damage. There might even be something where another version of Chocho ended up getting a calorie control that was very similar to the Byakugo Seal, where it just stores a ton of it. Or potentially Chocho is able to go into a butterfly mode without burning any calories at all. And God forbid Chocho starts using lightning release with something like this, which makes sense given that her mother has a strong lightning release chakra nature, and Chocho's character profile in the manga does say that she's learned lightning release. That's something we got to kind of add in there. Butterfly mode is something that very much interests me because Kashin Koji with 10 directions specializes, and when I say specialize, I mean that he symbolically is linked to reincarnation symbolism, karmic detachment, and shedding of mortal limits. Butterfly mode is symbolically built on the same thing when you take into account the Buddhist aspect. Butterfly ascendant mode is something that Kashin Koji might be able to help her with. A hypothetical stabilized version of butterfly mode with that 100 times multiplier that does not burn any type of calories, that could lead to chakra wings that have extra offensive abilities. That could lead to even higher speed chakra flight bursts. That could lead to chakra infused slashing winds. There could even be a split second cocoon healing technique because caterpillars go into cocoons and they end up turning into butterflies. There could be a healing aspect with this. Kashin Koji will be able to level Chocho up in a huge way. So what are the things that future Chocho in this hypothetical scenario might have already unlocked? Well, it's kind of plausible that some version of Chocho did become a monster based on what we've seen. Ever since Naruto has been sealed away and we've seen all these alternate timelines, and a lot of them, the way the characters responded is exactly how Boruto told Kawaki Shinobi respond when they were sitting on top of the Hokage monument. Boruto said Shinobi train to get stronger because they can no longer rely on Sasuke with the Rinnegan because he don't have it. They can no longer rely on Naruto Kurama because he don't have it. So a potential chakra cocoon metamorphosis technique, that could be something that heals Chocho, or it could be something that multiplies power temporarily. A potential butterfly reconnaissance mode where her wings vibrate and create massive shockwaves. A Titan butterfly armor. A full body chakra exoskeleton resembling fractal butterfly patterns could happen. An infinite expansion ramp up where she grows continuously like Kurama mode Naruto, where he goes into that avatar. Koji would absolutely be able to help her develop these techniques if that's something that Chocho had in another timeline, which, to further build on this, we have to touch on the Buddhism aspect. Because yes, this is a Naruto sequel. Technically, it's a sequel to the Naruto sequel, but the thing that all three versions of Naruto's manga, Naruto, all 72 volumes, plus the additional volume, then the second set of volumes being Boruto Naruto Next Generations, and now Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. The thing that all of them have in common is that there are Buddhism and Shinto influences that are mixed directly into the stories. And Boruto low-key does it just as heavy as Naruto if you know what you're looking at. So Chocho's potential is crazy when you look at this in Shinto and Buddhism, which is where a lot of those suggestions came from. Butterflies in Shinto are messengers of spirits. If you see any type of anime and you have shrine maidens and etc., great example, look at Inuyasha with Kikyo. You'll notice that she has those demonic butterflies. That's why. They represent transformation and renewal. A butterfly landing on a person traditionally means a spirit is watching over them. Just as Chocho may need to be the butterfly that's looking over Sarada when she gets that rematch with Hidari, because I strongly believe there's something else with Hidari that we have not seen. This fits Koji's spiritual evolution training perfectly. In Buddhism, a butterfly represents impermanence. It represents rebirth. It represents self-transformation. It represents the shedding of earthly attachments. Think about that. Chocho's biggest gag is her attachment to food and her appearance. Kashin Koji training her will be about transcending those attachments. Her becoming a true butterfly sage warrior fits that thematically perfectly. And that symbolism, it ties directly in with any potential power-up. If butterfly mode evolves with Kashin Koji's 10 directions, it could represent Chocho cutting away from superficial self-doubt. It could represent a transforming from a comedic relief character to being a genuine powerhouse. And the butterfly mode multiplier itself could be symbolically reframed as 100-fold awakening of one's true self. This is Buddhism language. It fits everything with Kashin Koji's 10 directions perfectly. And it gives Chocho's power up a depth to it instead of, oh, she just got bigger. Oh, she got butterfly mode with prettier wings and etc. Now, you might be asking, hey fam, why would Kashin Koji choose her? So, Kashin Koji wants to create that timeline where Jura is defeated. He wants an official timeline, an efficient timeline. What he needs are chakra monsters. He needs people capable of rapid growth. He needs shinobi with emotional bonds that are strong enough to make them break their limits. He needs warriors who can break through and reach a spiritual metamorphosis, basically. Chocho kind of does all of that. Reminder, in the manga, she's never unlocked butterfly mode. So the idea of her advancing it kind of makes sense. She is the caterpillar that's gone into the cocoon that's about to become a butterfly. More importantly, Koji understands the power of duos. He understands mentorship. He knows that Sarada will soon face an enemy that she might not have to face alone or should not face alone, because Boruto messed up the timeline when he told Kawaki get those limiters removed. And based on what we saw with Hidari, I think that the story is hiding something. And when you go into Kashin Koji's visions with 10 directions, there was a moment where it looked like Hidari was facing Sarada. There's something else cooking there. Strengthening Chocho is basically strengthening Sarada, because strengthening Sarada strengthens the village fate. Strengthening the village undermines the Ten Tails in terms of Jura. And the idea of Sarada and Chocho being there, with Chocho assisting Sarada, it is something I don't think that we can rule out at all. And it sets up a very, very strong ending for Chocho's character. So the next time you see somebody joking about Chocho's appetite, just remember what happens if Kashin Koji gets his hands on her no Mamushi. She might be the person that puts down the potato chips, and she might turn into the new butterfly form, showing a new clan technique, and become one of the strongest kunoichi in the history of Naruto. Yes, I'm going there. Chocho, the Titan butterfly sage, potentially. Don't tell me that don't sound incredible. I think it sounds pretty fucking incredible if I don't say so myself. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking on the left to check out more videos of Naruto Explained, or click here on the right to check out videos of my other 2 anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto anime and manga.